right. So now that we discussed the world falling apart,
Disgust.
NFTs are falling apart, Twitter's falling apart,
Attitude.
Ticketmaster's falling apart.
Yep.
Let's talk about Wakanda falling apart.
Wakanda's falling apart.
Wakanda's falling apart. The
Yes.
Jews fight.
So sad. So sad.
So sad. But yeah, we are here to talk about Black Panther 2,
Wakanda
Wakanda
for
for
sad.
Wakanda for sad.
Wakanda for sad.
Um, this is the latest MCU movie. It's not like it hasn't been so long since we've gotten MCU stuff, right? We got
No,
Werewolf
new
by
need this year.
Night.
Yeah.
We've
Thor.
gotten so many like
Yeah.
Disney Plus shows,
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
Right. We've
Um,
been eating well.
but yeah, I mean, some would say we may be eating too much.
Yes.
And we will discuss this too because we are going to be talking about our Phase 4 rankings.
I, in fact, am more interested in the Phase 4 conversation than I am in the Wakanda conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very straightforward movie too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see this being like a super long discussion.
Yeah.
Who knows? We've also talked about like some like
Some
dark
shit.
shit for a for like too
Some
long.
shit. Exactly.
But anyway, so this movie, like right from the very beginning, had a huge hill to climb.
Yeah.
Right? August, I
That's the
think.
main that's the main context with which you can take this movie. And which everybody is taking this movie.
Yes. Yeah, so that happened. I could not believe it was like that deep into like 2020.
Yeah.
Because that was August 2020, I
It's
believe.
either August. I'm looking it up right now. Yep, August 28th,
August
2020.
2020. So yeah, end of the month, August 2020.
Came
Chadwick
out of the
Boseman.
blue.
Just I remember
Yeah.
I was laying in bed and Katie goes, "Is there a hoax on Twitter?" And I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah.
She's like, "It says that Chadwick Boseman died." And I
Yeah.
was like, "That's gotta be a fucking
Yeah.
like Twitter thing."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh," she's like, "but it's from TMZ." And I was like, "Oh no."
TMZ.
As soon as you hear those three letters,
Yeah, that's
you know.
it's actually kind of funny because there's some sort of add-on that you can make. Um, you can add to your browser that'll help you like determine credible sources from not.
Sure.
And it always marks TMZ as non-credible, which on the one hand I get, but at the same time, they break in every story.
They broke the Kobe story.
They broke the Kobe story. Yeah.
Any like reliable thing.
Yeah.
When someone's died,
TMZ is
it's
the first to
TMZ.
know. Yeah.
And I get it because they're deep in the shit.
Yes.
So that makes sense. But man, that one actually did hit.
Yeah.
I like to say that not a lot of like celebrity deaths like really impact me because
Well, that one was just clearly too soon.
absolutely.
Yeah. I
And
mean, it's no Queen Elizabeth.
oh, actually, but like even Kobe, right?
Yeah,
When
like
Kobe
Kobe,
died,
he had his time.
sure,
Right. Chadwick Boseman was just at the precipice of
yeah,
what could
and
have been
like
his
he
time.
was extremely talented. He seemed like he was also a good person.
And the MCU was also marketing him. I mean, his feature in the Avengers movies very much looked like part of this torch and the passing of characters was going to go to him and his character.
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
we had lost Tony, we
yeah.
lost Natasha, we
Steve.
lost Steve.
Yeah.
So like out of like the main core group, we were left with Bruce,
Yeah.
and we were left with Hulk
Hulk. Yeah.
and Clint,
Yeah.
right?
He gets the coolest. He gets the coolest part in the.
Yeah, but like now
Big
when we are ending Endgame, you know, we have T'Challa, you know, being prevalent.
Yeah.
We go, oh, you know, now we can focus on these, you know, characters that came after Doctor
Right.
Strange, Black Panther, and having him just like from one day to the next, just fucking gone.
Yeah.
That fucking stung. So now we knew this movie was going to have to address that, and
Huge.
we can talk about this a little bit later too,
Yeah.
about whether it was the right choice to recast or to not recast and to kill off the character.
Right.
But we can talk more about that later because there's some story plots that
Yeah.
lead into this. And so to start it with this movie, they do address it from the beginning, right? It's in the synopsis, it's in the trailers.
Yeah.
T'Challa's dead,
Yeah.
right? We didn't know going in what happened. Even the synopsis kind of just keeps it
Right.
very brief, right? The nation is kind of struggling after the death of their king, and then Wakanda has to fight off a new threat,
Yeah.
right? That's a basic synopsis.
Yep.
So give your thoughts, your initial thoughts on the movie. What do you think?
Super cool.
Very cool.
Sad.
Yes.
I'll be the bitchest critic right now. Not as sad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay, so I think we're on the same page on
Yes,
that.
not as sad as I thought it was going to be. Messy.
Yeah.
I fault no one given the
Hmm.
circumstances, except perhaps the choice to release it when it was released. But that, I mean, that could even be there could have been reasons for that that we're just not aware of.
What do you mean?
Um, Maybe just waiting a bit more to rewrite the script a bit,
Oh, I see.
or do something.
Okay, so maybe shuffle it a little bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah. And there's issues with Ironheart, who I loved, by the way, but there's issues with Ironheart that I'll get into later that other people have gotten into. So I think more people are giving this movie more of a pass than I give it,
Yes.
even though it deserves every pass in the world.
It- It's it's a weird thing that I've also kind of grappled with.
Yeah,
Where coming out of it, I was like, it's not my favorite,
right.
but it is really cool with what they were able to do.
Yeah.
Uh,
If anything, it should make me harder on Love and Thunder.
oh,
Because
100%. What fucking excuse?
yeah,
What excuse did Thor Love and Thunder have?
at this point,
At
at this point, yeah,
it's night and day with these two movies,
yeah,
I would say.
yeah. So,
Uh,
so I give it a very healthy 3 stars.
yeah, I think I was a little more positive than you.
Yeah, you are.
A little bit more.
Yeah,
But that's also because like I'm a big just
yeah.
spectacle fan.
Yes, and
Um,
it has excellent spectacle.
yes.
Yeah,
The movie is overall like very good. I still think like the directing is pretty good on the movie.
the directing is
The
good.
performances are I am having a hard time like dinging any particular like performance
Performances are all great.
because like these are people who are I think as far as like having your characters be like, all right, act sad.
Yeah,
Like there is no acting in this.
yeah,
Like these characters are fucking struggling
yeah.
with like having lost
The
like
dude,
like a
fucking dude.
friend,
Yeah,
not just like oh coworker.
right.
Like this was like a friend, like a good friend
He
of
and Ryan
mine.
Coogler were quite close.
Very
Yeah,
close. Apparently him and Angela Bassett like had like a really good like
relationship.
relationship as
Yeah.
well. And so like the performances are top notch, including the new cast.
Yes.
I would say if I had to like say that there was a weakest one, I would maybe say what's her name? Miss Thorne, the girl who plays Ironheart.
Oh,
Um,
I enjoyed her performance. Well, we don't have our usual cast and stuff.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
we are bad
Yeah.
bad people.
Let's see.
Dominique Thorne.
Dominic Thorne.
But it wasn't like oh she was bad. It's just like when you have a new character, it does take some acclimation. And I feel like because I'm not trying to say that she was like shoehorned in, but it felt like they tried really hard to make her story fit
So
work.
I really enjoyed her character, and it actually wasn't until On the Way Home where I was like, "Oh, she didn't need to be in the movie."
She did not,
Yeah,
and that's more or less my complaint,
yeah,
right? And it's not so much an issue of her performance, it's an issue of the scripting, right?
yeah.
The screenplay and all that shit. But I mean the whole cast, the returning cast, I really like the fact that they started off Danae Guerrera pretty strong,
Hmm.
who plays oh geez, why am I blanking on these names? I know I have her up.
Okoye.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I kept wanting to say Michonne, and then I was like, that's
yeah.
not right.
I always refer to her as Michonne,
Uh,
to be honest.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean, I was really liking where they were going with her character at first,
yeah.
and then I feel like towards the end it kind of petered out. And I was also looking forward to seeing more of Lupita.
Yes, I was surprised. There was a point where I was like, "Is she gonna be in this movie?" I didn't vocalize it, but I was like, "Is she here?"
And
And then she's in Haiti.
she's in Haiti, right?
Spoilers.
Of
Yes.
all places, right? She's
Yeah.
hanging out in Haiti. And I was kind of expecting her to have a bigger role in the movie because, like, in the comics and even in the first movie, they kind of make a big deal about like her relationship with T'Challa.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is her man, and he did.
Yeah.
Like, she's got to have a bigger role.
Yeah.
She doesn't. Not really to go into spoilers yet, right? But
Right.
that I also felt like that was kind of a weird story like choice.
Yes.
Um, I still don't know how I feel about Letitia Wright
As Shuri or as the drama that
as
surrounds.
the drama like surrounding her, and I get separate
Right.
art from artist, that type of shit. Uh, it also like I don't know. A lot of story revolves around her, like whether she wants to take up this mantle or not, right?
Yeah.
And I think they do an overall good job
Um,
in the story for now.
I'll talk about that later. Let me know when you're ready to talk about Shuri as a character in this movie, because that's actually one of my most of my problems with this movie. Everybody else has said
Sure.
Shuri as a character is the one problem that I have that I feel like I haven't heard a lot of people echo.
Really?
Yeah, but we can get there. We can get there later.
Sure.
Yeah,
Um, what do you think about the the not Atlanteans?
they're awesome.
I
Yeah,
really liked it.
I
Um,
like the Mesoamerican shit.
it's dope.
It's dope. It's an interesting parallel to Killmonger, right in
Mm-hmm.
the first one.
Very similar. I think
Yeah,
you do hear a lot of like reviews say, oh, it's very, derivative of like the first movie.
right.
But I feel like it's also, yes, obviously
Hmm.
a lot of stories are like that.
Yeah.
But I think in this movie it makes sense
Why?
why his beef is different than Killmonger's beef in the first movie.
So it's interesting in this movie, they play pretty fast and loose with the woke capitalism.
The woke
The woke
capitalism?
capitalism,
Okay.
in the sense that, like, you see in this movie, they basically like blow up some cops, and they don't make a big deal about blowing up cops. They're just like, "Fuck these cops." Blow up. He kills a priest.
He does.
The word colonizer is used at least like two times.
At least.
Yeah, it's like okay,
Yeah.
like like this movie picked the lane and it
Eh,
committed, and I don't blame it for picking that lane. Um, I think there can be more critiques, which there's a lot of stuff that I keep saying we can get to later. So if there's ever a point where you want me to get to it now, you just let me know.
I mean,
But
I think it's a great follow-up to the first movie.
yeah,
Again, all things. I think that's the takeaway for this movie.
yeah,
All things considered.
yes,
That is the asterisk that should be on
yeah,
every box, every tagline. Um, Pandemic,
yeah. Pandemic,
losing your main actor,
right?
having a crazy person in the mix.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
know how and when. Like, I don't know when Dominique Thorne was contracted to like be in this, and
right.
if there was a way to like write her out given the circumstances. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know how those logistics work. Um, so yes, all things considered, I agree.
Yep.
I will put a footnote on that asterisk, and
Sure.
I will say, and yet I still think a better movie could have been made given the circumstances as well. Yes,
Yes, yes, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
And a lot of that, I think you could pass that out to like leadership, right?
yeah,
Why did Kevin not just say, "Hey, let's wait on this,"
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And who knows,
yeah.
right? No, we're not getting paid to make these decisions. I would not want to be paid to make this particular decision.
Well, and that's the thing with film, right, and
Yes.
TV. I think this is especially where people who have hard-ons for their books and they get mad at adaptations kind of really
Hmm.
miss the boat. They're there's just so many moving pieces to something on the screen that you just as a company have to be aware of. Yeah, it doesn't happen in a book. Like in a book, you can like do whatever the fuck you want with a character.
Hmm.
Like Game of Thrones, for instance, they're like, oh, bring back the cast for a redo of season 8, or like, can you get the whole cast to sign on
Yeah.
for like a season 9 in the future? I'm like, that's
Hmm.
a lot of fucking people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a
It's so many moving parts,
that's a
so many
lot of yeah,
handshakes.
yeah. So like I literally do not know. So I could be talking out of my ass, but like if Dominique Thorne was like contracted to be in this movie from pre 2020, which I don't know if she was or not. I did not look that up yet
Yeah.
or not. And then like this shit happens, like you can't just there's
You
no
can't
like
just
there
brush this under
yeah
the rug.
there's no
It's
extenuating circumstance clause
no,
on the contract.
it's
You
yeah,
gotta
it's crazy, right?
yeah
I think the last thing to address before we move into like deep shit,
deep
is a really big performance by Angela Bassett.
right
Uh, she, as far as like things in the movie that happened
yeah
that made me like actually emotional without like the cop out, which we will mention later.
hmm
Uh, her performance in this, I was like, God damn.
her
Like
performance
you
was
can
right
feel like
yeah
her as a person felt like the emotion and then like making the character
yeah
portray that emotion. I think she did a good job. I think it's a little egregious to be like nominate her because the Academy does not respect
right
comic book movies.
right.
You
Although this
know,
was Black Panther 1 was the first one that they did.
exactly. If they do, I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm
Yeah.
just not like holding my breath. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with. I know you're gonna fucking laugh that I'm mentioning Hereditary, but it's the same thing with me going. I would love to see Toni Collette get nominated for
Yeah, she
Hereditary,
was never gonna.
but she was
She was
never
never
gonna.
gonna. She was never gonna.
And that's that
Right.
same thing. And so I think with that in mind, then we can go ahead and move on to
Deep
deep
shit. Oh
shit.
wait, Winston Duke. Also awesome.
Oh, fantastic. I
Also
fucking
awesome.
love him.
Yeah.
And I will talk more about him when we get into spoilers
Yeah.
because a lot of my, like,
Critiques.
not critiques, but like possible, like, hopefulness, I guess, going forward
Uh
revolves around
and
him.
Baku, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm not like saying like, oh, let's not mention him
Yeah.
without spoil. We can right now say
Right.
he did a great job. He's
Yeah.
always fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He is a criminally underemployed actor, I
Yes.
think.
And underused in this film.
Criminally
Yeah.
underused in this film.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about
Yeah.
spoilers. So, like we said, the movie starts with him just intro, right?
Yeah.
Before we even get,
Yeah.
I want to say, before we even get
The
like the
the bar.
opening,
We do. Yep. Yep. This is
like
before. Yeah.
we start with like, oh shit, T'Challa's dying.
Yeah.
And they kind of they don't brush it off, but they go, oh, he's dying of some illness.
Which was the right way to do it, in my
Yes,
opinion.
there really is no other
Yeah.
way to do it.
Yeah.
Um, again, maybe there could have been something if they had waited, but as far as like reflecting
Yeah.
the true story behind it, like I think they make a point saying that like he kind of also hid it from like his family initially, that he was sick. And
Uh,
then Shuri is kind of not mad at him, but she's like, if he had let me know
right.
sooner, maybe we would have had more time.
Right.
That brings up my first kind of like, not necessarily plot hole, but like confusion. What the fuck would the herb do?
The Black Panther.
Because he had the herb in him.
Yeah. I don't know.
So that to me, I was like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That she is trying to save him by recreating the herb. It doesn't specify that she's like doing something to like create a new
Right.
type of herb,
Yeah.
but I couldn't see how that was unless they had explained something like, oh, maybe the fact that he like
Yeah.
consumed it and
Yeah.
then got rid of it and then consumed it again so fast that maybe that caused a problem.
Yeah.
But there was nothing
Nothing
to
mentioned.
like inform that, right?
So I think this is where, to my next comment, is going to kind of, to me, show how you just can't purely look at superhero movies through the lens of reason,
Mhm.
as many Republicans would want to do. But so on the one hand, it does logically make no sense that in a world where Tony Stark can invent time travel in a cave with a box of scraps. Uh, um,
Hey, excuse me. He invented time travel in a cabin
with a box of scraps.
with a box of scraps.
But the it makes no sense that people would still like die from disease, or like the superheroes would still die from disease. However, I do actually love the fact that you did have a superhero who died from disease, because
Yeah,
it's a very, very human, a very, very human moment.
there's there was something I can't remember what it
Hmm.
was where there's a similar situation in a show or a movie where they're like, ah, this person like they've gone through all this shit and they die of this.
I don't remember. Yeah,
But I mean, it's the
yeah,
same
yeah, yeah.
situation, right? You have this guy who's
Did the actor die as well?
no. It's I think it's in the show or
Okay.
whatever movie it is.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is, but it's this like of all the things you're expecting
yeah.
to like off this character,
It's
it's just the fucking gout or
yeah,
something, right?
yeah,
Like just
yeah.
these like random just acts of nature,
Right.
right? And again, I think it is best to have left it open
As to what it
as
was.
to what it
Yeah.
was without going into like details.
I don't think you need to say the C word.
Oh no.
The So I will say in my rankings of possible ways to have dealt with T'Challa, my most preferred is what they did,
Hmm.
Mystery Disease. My second most preferred would have been recasting.
Yeah.
And then my least preferred would have been kill him off screen in like
He's on a
an
mission.
explosion. Yeah.
Something went wrong.
Yeah. I would have hated that. I would have
Yeah.
absolutely hated that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Realistically speaking, from a story perspective, that is what
what
would
happened?
logically make sense, I
Yeah, it's
think.
just such a disservice to the
But
character. Yeah.
yes, especially to him.
Yeah.
So I'm also on the same boat. My main instinct was it sucks that you're losing this character of
Right.
T'Challa, right? Like recasting him seems like the logical narrative
Yeah.
perspective, but I think that of all the characters that have come out of the MCU,
Yeah.
I think there's a few that are not recastable,
T'Challa, I think, is one
and
of
I
them.
think T'Challa is one of them.
Yeah, T'Challa's one of them. Well, we
He's
were literally just talking about fucking Henry Cavill before starting this,
yeah,
right? And as fine as I am with Liam Hemsworth, it's just not going to be the same. And that is like C tier content. The Witcher, right?
The Witcher is CT
Yeah,
content.
yeah, it's great. I like it as C tier content, but it's like it's no fucking Black Panther,
Yeah,
right? Like so yeah,
I
you
mean
couldn't recast.
the fact that I can talk to my coworkers about
Yeah,
Black Panther, but not
yeah.
talk to my coworkers about The Witcher, like that's
Well, as such a cultural phenomenon as the first
yeah.
movie was,
Hmm.
right? It's cruel that Chadwick Boseman's
It's
the
insane.
one to die, right?
Like like God bless his heart, right?
Yeah,
Mark Ruffalo.
yeah.
If he were to die, I'd be like,
We've been
well,
there.
we've been there.
Yeah,
If Rhodey were to have died,
yeah, yeah.
I love you,
We've
Dom
been there.
Donnie, but that's where the examples
If
arose.
Benedict Cumberbatch were to die,
Ooh,
still would have been sad,
it would have been very sad.
but I would prefer a recasting of that over a recasting of
Yes,
T'Challa.
exactly,
Yeah,
right? So I
yeah,
think, I don't want to dwell too much on it because there's so much movie to talk about.
yeah.
But I think for the circumstances, for the amount of time constraint that they had,
Right.
right? They needed to get this movie out because they had announced it. I'm
Yeah.
assuming there are people whose contracts are maybe time sensitive,
Yep.
so it had to get done.
Yep.
So I think under those circumstances,
Yeah.
that's the best choice,
All
right?
right. Scene one.
Scene one. But that leads us to like our first when I saw this. I think I looked over at Katie and or you, and I was like, "This is fucking bullshit." Where they show the Marvel logo, and it's just him.
Yeah. No, that's what it should
Yeah,
have been.
it's cheating, but it felt so
But
good.
that what you can't do your fanfare. Like it's got to
You
be just
can.
him.
It's got. They did the same for.
The theater was silent.
No, no one's fucking talking. People are crying.
Yeah. You could hear a pin drop in that theater.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on carpeted floor.
I haven't heard a room that silent
Yeah.
since like the first Quiet Place movie.
It is the opposite of Endgame.
Yeah.
It-
Still, when that shit happens in that game,
yeah.
like everybody's like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still like the intro to Endgame is still very solid, right?
It is, but what I'm saying is like, I mean, Endgame is all cheers. Like as energetic as Endgame was, this was the opposite place on the number line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, we are introduced to like the new struggles of Wakanda, which I thought was really interesting to see.
Yep.
Um, the balls of the governments to like move in.
Yeah.
Granted, they waited a year.
Yeah.
It's good for them, I guess.
Yeah.
Show some restraint. But that was a really good scene of having Queen Ramonda to basically be like, "You guys are fucking with the wrong people."
Yes.
Good for her.
And I think this is where, all right, so then this is a bit where Disney tries to have its cake and eat it too.
Go on,
And I might be jumping ahead plot wise a little bit, but it's
go for
relevant.
it.
All right. So, on the one hand, you have in both this first movie and this second movie, you have these antagonists who some people won't even say are villains, they'll just say they're antagonists.
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
are,
Namor is considered like
yes,
an anti-hero, right?
yes, who are victims of colonialism, victims of imperialism, victims of marginalization, et cetera, right? And you
Hmm.
can very much empathize um, with their plight,
Hmm.
right? And in this film, you know, I think the sequel takes it a bit of a step further because like they're very on the nose, and I don't mean that in a bad way, about like shady, like destabilization shit that the US government would be trying to do to Wakanda. Which
Hmm.
like also good luck.
Yeah.
I mean it's one thing to do to Nicaragua. Well like
This is like, yeah, this is
yeah,
not Chiquita Bananas
yeah,
trying to tear down a
yeah,
government.
right. And then you've got your like one good person in the CIA who's fighting the good fight, right?
Our boy Everett
Our
Ross,
boy Bilbo, right?
Bilbo
Yeah.
Baggins,
So Bilbo Baggins is there trying to fight the
and for
yeah,
bagging Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
yeah,
Oh, she's a
yeah.
catch.
She's a catch. So you know he's representing what's right about America, right in the
It's
system.
the one good cop,
Yeah,
right?
it's the one good cop. And then the film still is like, no, Namor, you must be defeated, right? And like it's a little bit of like Disney being, yeah, you know, fuck colonialism, you know, fuck the establishment. But then they're like, ah, GG, like, you know, you can't fuck with these. Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
shake the
yeah.
status quo too much,
You
right?
can't shake the status
I
quo.
mean, it's the same issue with the first movie, right?
Right.
Killmonger has a fucking point in that
He
movie.
does, and T'Challa's ready to build a Starbucks. And I think where this movie actually, yeah, and I think where this movie actually is more egregious, in my opinion, is like by the end, Shuri's fucking like vengeful.
Dude, she's so fucking pissed.
And like the movie up until like the very, very last second, to me, seemed to be okay with her vengefulness. And then literally at the end, she's like, nah, wouldn't be right. And then she
Yeah.
sends him on her way. And it's like,
And
and
that's
it's very heavy. It's very heavy political subject matter. And then to come from Disney to be like to come from one of the oligarch companies now, like
yeah,
I'm not surprised because this is just the way that it's going to be. Disney is just going to be Americana, you know,
yeah.
until something collapses.
Again, you can't shake the
Right,
tree too much, right?
right. But I don't know. It bothered me more in this one than it did in the last one.
I think it's also because this movie, because it has so many like, peaks and valleys in this
Yeah.
movie, I think it's more noticeable because I mean her story in this movie is a like almost one for one to T'Challa's journey in Civil War. Whereas in
Yes.
Civil War, though, it feels a little bit more.
But his arc is more smooth than Civil War.
That's what I'm saying.
Her arc is jagged.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is. It
Yeah.
really is,
Yeah.
right? Her arc in this movie just feels very like rushed
Yeah.
because she spends like half the movie gone,
She ain't even doing anything under the sea.
not doing jack shit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like everybody else is doing shit.
Yeah.
she's like in a fucking diving suit,
Yeah.
messing with beaners, and
He
it,
said it, not
I said it. I can say it.
yeah.
In an underground,
Yeah.
like dark acid. By the way, that was like the thing that hurt me the most.
What?
Like I was expecting to see like super
Well,
colorful.
that was some of the long night level darkness.
Dude, it was so
Okay, not
dark.
that bad. Not the long night. I could still see the screen, but I agree. Actually, I did not like how. I did not like how dark it was.
And like they show like in the trailers,
Yeah.
like seeing him like descend onto his throne in like the mouth of a fucking like megalodon, like
Yeah.
that's so cool looking.
Yeah.
Now imagine that with like a good lit
Yeah.
like room, I would cream.
So here's what's gonna disqualify me from ever commenting on a film again. You ready?
Gone.
So I saw how dark not Atlantis was. And I was like, oh man, the fucking Gungan City in Phantom Menace. And here I am elevating 1999 George Lucas CGI above what this actual artist was trying to do with his film.
But
Man,
what a choice though to
it would be dark though.
it would
It
be. I
would
mean,
be,
listen, I'm
yeah,
not faulting
right.
it, right?
Realistically, it would be dark. Yeah,
Realistically, it should be
yeah,
dark,
yeah, yeah.
right? You're deep, you're in like
Yeah,
caverns,
they would have evolved to have.
and he does specifically say like, "Hey, I built this like underground like glowing orb
Yeah,
for my people out of vibranium, so we have a sun down here,
yeah,
right?" And when it does like show it come up,
yeah,
it does brighten up,
right.
but not enough that you can like see details.
Yeah.
And like we said, there were some like you know you know
I,
bumps in the road because of COVID, so maybe that
I
didn't
actually
help
wonder if it's part of the.
the CG thing.
No, I wonder if it's part of the rhetoric of the film. Because, like, you still have to have them as antagonists,
So
right?
you want to show them like dingy?
I mean, think about how, like, gorgeous and beautiful, like, Wakanda is, right? From, like, the first film. And how everybody was saying in that first film, like, Wakanda itself seems like a character, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, in theory, if you're really going to put um, the non-Atlanteans
Hmm.
on equal footing as the Wakandans, you should have something as like vibrant and gorgeous and beautiful.
Exactly, because
Yeah,
Wakanda looks fantastic.
yeah,
I know it doesn't look as cool
yeah,
as like it did in the past.
yeah,
There's something about it, and I can't remember who it was. Somebody was like, "You look at Wakanda now versus Wakanda in 2018.
yeah,
It looks different now,
yeah.
but still has like a very distinct
The
feel."
film isn't as interested in showing us all the vistas. It doesn't have to introduce us to all the.
Exactly, yeah, because
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen it in Endgame a little bit. We
right.
saw it in Infinity War. We saw it in Black Panther.
Yeah,
Um, so I get why they didn't really focus too much on Wakanda,
right.
but the whole thing is they, like you said, they want you to buy into the fact that Wakanda should be threatened
Yeah,
by Talokan,
yeah.
and the fact that like you go, I'm like, man, this looks like the fucking Yengies.
Where what was non-Atlantis in Mesoamerica? Like,
Yeah,
was it
they
there?
said it was kind of like off of the coast of like Yucatan.
Is Wakanda on the western part of Africa or the eastern part of Africa? Is there
I don't think
is
they've
it on a
ever
fictional map?
specifically
Yeah,
said where it is. There is something in Age of Ultron.
because they done zooped over to Wakanda.
I mean, I think, but
Yeah,
again, that's also like you're kind of led to believe that like
yeah.
these guys have
They
this
should have the technology. They
technology,
should have the
right?
technology to
And
see.
I mean, that's just kind of where they say they lost track
Yeah,
of of Shuri,
right.
because then they take those underground currents,
Yeah, and those
right?
could lead you
And I mean,
anywhere.
Lord knows how fucking
Yeah,
hard you go into the
yeah.
ocean with that, right? So who knows?
Were they in the comics? Were they Greekish? Like, did they have that aesthetic?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not super well versed into Namor
Yeah,
because
I know he's white in the comics.
yes,
Yeah.
I think I'm assuming the reason why he got his name in the comics was because they were like Roman backwards, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then
So I'm
he's
guessing it has
Greco-Roman.
like
Yeah,
Greco-Roman,
yeah,
right? So I really did like the shift into this.
yeah,
I, I we don't need more like Greek shit in like
Do we have Greek shit? I mean, Zeus
I mean,
now
we got like
in
recently,
yeah in
right?
Thor. No, we don't need
We
more
have
Greek shit.
like Norse mythology
Yeah,
in Thor. Now we added some Greek shit with like
yeah,
Zeus and Hercules. So like, yeah, sure,
yeah,
throw us Mexicans a
yeah,
bone. We don't really have anything. We
yeah.
have the new Falcons.
You have Carlos
Oh
Pena.
boy.
You have Carlos Pena.
Carlos Peña? Who is he?
Fuck, Ant-Man. Michael Pena.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He doesn't count. He doesn't count. He's a Scientologist.
He's signed.
Yeah, he's
He's
automatically disqualified.
yeah.
So speaking of which, we haven't really touched on him a lot.
Michael
Tenor
Pena.
Puerta.
Oh,
Huh?
yes. I was gonna say Michael Pena.
Michael Peña.
No, we
Oh,
haven't.
Tenor Puerta. He does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
He is simultaneously like charismatic. He is like
He's a
D and
he's a
D.
strong man.
He
Yeah.
is D&D definition of charismatic. Because
Mm.
like in D&D, like when we talk about charisma in
Yeah.
like today culture, we go,
Yeah.
oh, that's a smooth talker,
Yeah.
right? But when you talk about like D&D charisma, that's like, yes, that is your charm,
Right.
but that's also like your intimidation.
Mm.
And this boy can do both.
He can do both.
Good for him. And
Yeah.
having a dark Mexican
Yeah.
be like,
Be that charismatic of a figure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's like a quote that he's, been quoted as a lot in like recent times, like, oh, he's always playing like these drug lords, and like
Right.
now he's playing like a fucking king, right? A
Yeah.
god. I mean, to his people, he's a god,
Yeah.
right? And I thought that
He's
was that always stuck with me, and I could
yeah.
not take it seriously anytime anyone calls
Neither
him.
could, neither can I.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Um, so we we've detoured so much in this
That's fine.
conversation, which is it's
Yeah.
fine. Um, the reason why they are beefing is because they found vibranium in the ocean
Correct.
using technology
Built by Ironheart.
built by scientists,
Side.
right? Big misdirect.
Yes.
Uh, I think if you know that she is in this movie and that she's involved somehow,
You can
and you
figure.
know a scientist, you're like, oh, it's her,
Yeah.
right? Duh. Uh, I think it's a good way to bring in the tension because the only reason why they have access to so much vibranium, they can study it and then eventually find it, is because of the opening, like the floodgates, right?
Yeah.
Letting more people have access to vibranium
Right.
and all that fun shit. So that does make sense.
Yeah.
Why then Namor is like, dude, this is all your fucking fault. Like,
Yeah.
you started this shit, now you're gonna at least help us like put an end
Put
to
it
it,
into it.
right? Which again, that's the exact same conflict that
Killmonger.
Killmonger has
Yep.
in the first movie, where he's like, well, if we let these fuckers find out what we're capable of, they're going to ban against us. So let's go ahead and attack first.
Yeah.
Very reasonable, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so that is a good, I think, explanation of this conflict between the
Right.
two nations. I don't think that Riri necessarily needs to be the one who is the person making this.
Yeah. So it's interesting the way. On the one hand, even when I was watching it, I know they were like saying like, "Well, we have to kill the scientist," and I was like, "Shit!" At this point, like the U.S. government has the specs. Like they don't need like.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it usually works, right? Like you give
Right.
someone a blueprint
They
and
got
you
the
mass
rights.
produce that shit.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, granted, Namor doesn't know this, but like she reveals that like, oh, I don't know, I was building this for the government. I was just building this for my
From fucking class.
professor, right? So the tension surrounding her life being in danger, that's something that was hard for me to buy into because like I thought that it'd be obvious that like, oh, once the machine is fucking built, like you don't need the scientist anymore. Like
Yeah.
they got the machine, right?
Yeah. Although I do think that the implication is that she built it
Yeah.
as part of like a project,
Yeah.
and she just like turned that shit and be like, hey, here you go. It's like if I gave someone my potato cannon, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so then like the person's just like, oh fuck it, I'll just give it to the government
Yeah.
because this could be useful.
Yeah.
Maybe you make a couple $100 out of it, and then like they don't know how to
Couple.
reverse engineer.
Couple.
Couple $100,000,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then maybe they are not able to like reverse engineer it.
But then that even then there's a whole Like she was too busy being scared for her life to be pissed. But like, I would have been pissed.
Especially like
Yeah.
because she seems
At the
like she's
professor? At at the government?
because she
Yeah.
was like hustling,
Yeah.
right? It shows that she's like doing things for people, helping them like with
Yeah.
like projects,
She's the world's richest college student.
right?
From like
And like if you're like, oh yeah, they are using my thing to
yeah.
like
To find
build this
vibranium.
thing,
Yeah.
like you better fucking cough up,
Yeah.
right? At least give her a 50% cut from what you sold to the
She better be going to MIT for free.
oh 100%.
Yeah.
So I do think like as far as like why she was brought in, I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Could it have been a different way? Absolutely. In the same way that as much as I like my boy Bilbo,
Yeah.
he doesn't need to be in this movie.
And everybody's noted that. Neither he nor Julie
Yeah,
Louis.
Valentina,
Yeah.
blah 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 blah, right? Like
In
they're fine
in a world where Chadwick Boseman's not dead,
in
she
a movie that's
gets.
not at 2 hours and 40 fucking minutes.
But what I'm saying in this movie, in a world where Chadwick Boseman's not dead,
Hmm.
if she's in this, she gets a Thunderbirds post credit scene, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And in a world where Chadwick Boseman is not dead, we get cameos of Flash and or other Spider-Man characters
Flash.
at MIT.
Oh, Flash
Flash Thompson?
Thompson?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, this takes place post.
The whole timeline is dubious, in my opinion. I'm sure
Well,
it's written down somewhere.
they do say like it's a year later, right? There's a 1 year time jump
Since his death.
since his death.
Right.
I'm assuming if it's following everything else, it's like
Yeah.
post Endgame,
Yeah.
2023, so now we're in 2024.
Yeah.
So at this point, MJ and Flash and Ned are all at MIT.
Yeah.
We should have gotten something.
In a
Even
world where Chadwick Boseman isn't dead.
even if like let's say they show Riri's dorm
Yeah.
and it has like Riri and MJ.
Yeah.
We don't have to see her,
Right.
at least a nod, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't, which
Yeah.
uh makes sense. Like even you pointed out at the end of the movie, like, oh yeah, there's no end credit scene. Like you can't have like a big fuck yeah scene
Yeah.
after,
After this.
especially after the bummer ending,
Yeah.
right? Uh, so speaking of the bummer ending and kind of moving forward into the future because we are pushing 40 minutes already,
Fine.
and then
Yeah.
we don't have to
Yeah.
go into a lot. Big confirmation here too that Namor is officially like the first mutant.
Yeah.
He is not the first mutant in the MCU canonically right now.
Right.
That's
I mean, the first one who was revealed in the MCU as a
yeah,
mutant?
first revealed mutant.
Miss Marvel.
That's Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
But even before that, we had Patrick Stewart
Yeah.
show up as
As a
um,
Professor Xavier.
yeah, Professor
Right.
X. So we've had them, but so far he is confirmed to be the oldest.
Yes.
Right, they have a big flashback where they talk about how his people got their
Mutation.
mutation. Right, they were eating kind of like how in Wakanda they have the heart-shaped herb.
Mm-hmm.
Here they have this glowy blue tentacly like plant that
Yeah.
grows under the ocean. Katie did want to point out, she looked at me and she goes, his mom looks like she has like the Red Robin onion ring tower in her hair. And I was like, damn, now I want
Damn.
onion rings.
Yeah.
It looked really good. But good for them for keeping the stupid little wings and making
Oh, and
them
his feet?
not look
Yeah.
stupid.
And fucking Shuri rips them off.
Dude, she
That was cool.
fucks his shit up.
That was cool.
Because Katie goes, they can just rip that off.
Yeah.
And at the end, she goes, hey, look at that. See, I told
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
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 And he's zipping along. He's a fucking menace.
Yeah.
Like, one-on-one with, like, even, like, superpower, like, flight machines and...
The way that she finally, disables him with the explosion was cool. But that's like basically she just had to like fucking evaporate all his oxygen supply.
Yeah, and she
Before
just dried him out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And that does show that she is... Even though she's untrained and she does have, like, the strength from from the heart shaped herb.
Right.
She is not like super, formidable as far as like, the S tier like fighters, right?
Yes.
She is able to beat them using like her smarts. She
Well,
knows.
and that's the thing. You almost forget that this is a Black Panther movie. Like, until it's a Wakanda movie.
It's a Wakanda. To
Yeah.
be fair, when you see the screen, the title,
Wakanda Forever is big.
Wakanda Forever is like all of it, and
Yeah.
at the very top, it's like Black Panther.
So they didn't lie.
So they didn't lie.
But I
You
mean,
feel that.
yeah.
We don't see Black Panther until like the last 30 minutes of this 2 hour and 40 minute long.
And it's not even one of those cases where I mean, there's some superhero movies where you don't see enough of the superhero until
I mean,
or
big examples of this is like when you have the Marvel shows where you don't have Hawkeye, wear the new costume until the end. You don't have
yeah.
uh,
But I even mean pre-MCU. I forget if it was like Spider-Man 3 or one of the Batman movies, where like there's not enough this man in this movie. Like there's the alter ego, right?
yeah,
There's Tobey Maguire, there's Christian Bale, or whichever one it was. I don't remember.
Bully Maguire.
Bully Maguire, excuse me. Yeah. Um, and for this, in those at least, like the movie is aware that they're not doing Batman or Spider-Man things. In this one, it was like, oh, T'Challa's dead. No Black Panther stuff. Shit looks bleak.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
By the way, now that you gave me this, MacGuffin bracelet, I
Yeah.
can use this to do
Yeah.
what I need to do.
Yeah.
But okay, so here's the other problem that I have with this plot hole, maybe.
Right.
So she's making a suit for the Dora Milaje.
And awful suits.
A terrible suit.
As is the Ironheart suit.
They don't look good, and
They're bad suits.
I'm glad that they were like,
We're gonna keep this in
we're
Wakanda
keeping
because it
this shit
looks
in
like
Wakanda.
shit.
Ain't nobody keeping this in the outside world.
Yeah.
Good for them, at
Yeah.
least for that, right?
Yeah.
And it gives me hope that they can then take feedback
Yeah.
because I'm not saying everybody hates it, but I think a lot of people are like, I'm not jiving with this
Yeah.
Ironheart suit.
It looks bad.
So I'm hoping they can take that feedback and then for her show,
Yeah.
give her a proper, like, Iron Man inspired
Yeah.
Ironheart suit.
I don't know a lot about the character other than she's made by a U Chicago
Mhm.
professor. I don't know if the character has any connection to Tony Stark.
She does. I mean,
Mm.
she is inspired heavily by him.
I would like to see some more over Tony Stark
Yeah,
stuff.
there's like no connection in
None
this
of
at
this.
all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than the fact that she's at MIT, and I know like in the MCU he does have like big connections to
MIT.
MIT.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for more of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the thing, right? So she's making suits.
Yeah.
She could still, even without having the heart shaper,
Yeah.
have a Black Panther suit for someone to take up the mantle.
There needed to be an attempt and a fail at a Black Panther
Or show it.
version. Yeah.
Maybe something, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we have it, but it's not as strong.
Right.
It's not as useful. It's more for show,
Yeah.
right? But there's nothing.
There's
Like
nothing.
there is no reason that the United States was able to be like, fuck,
Yeah.
Captain America
Yeah.
retired,
US
and
agent.
then
Yeah.
here's a couple months later, here's fucking U.S. agent,
Yeah.
right? They can do it. It's mostly for show,
Right.
right? Wakanda, I think the smart thing to do would have been like, yeah, we still have something.
Yeah.
Like we're not
Yeah.
useless, right? We're not defenseless.
Right.
Even if it's just like maybe they don't want to because of, for respect of T'Challa passing or whatever.
That I also wonder to what extent Letitia Wright's baggage has anything to do with that, plus then the introduction of baby T'Challa at the end of this film.
I did not like that.
I didn't like that either.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if that's why they're not like like committed.
to her.
Yes.
And I do like upon like first watch.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've only seen it once,
Yeah.
which is rare for me.
Yeah.
Even Love and Thunder,
Yeah.
I saw like twice in the span of the same weekend, and then like a third time later in the week.
That was also summer break.
It was also summer break. Right
Yeah.
now, I've just been incredibly busy.
Yeah.
People have been sick.
You're a grad student.
I'm a grad student,
Yep.
like a fucking sucker.
Like a sucker.
But I remember coming out of it being like, I don't like that she is the new Black Panther,
Mm.
especially like 'cause she was the obvious choice story wise. Like
Yes, it was silly that they kept it a secret.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
But then like you're like, well, at the end of the movie it does show that she's not really keeping like they don't
Yeah.
full out like say like she's not like I'm not doing it. But the implication is she doesn't show up to the fight at the end.
So M'Baku's the monarch,
So
right?
M'Baku is the challenger at least. Whether someone else steps up, I think if it had been pre-conflict
Yeah.
and resolution of Black Panther, someone would have probably stepped up.
Yeah.
But I think having that growth for him in that movie allowed people to be like, no, he's actually good. He cares about
Yeah.
Wakanda.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone challenges.
Right.
I am 100% on the boat that I want him to be the next Black Panther.
M'Baku.
Cool.
Interesting. Is he ever one in the comics?
Um,
Does his character even exist in the comic?
his character does exist. He is like I think his moniker is like the White Gorilla,
Yeah.
which is also his moniker in this one.
Right.
Not as used as much, but like in the first movie they do mention
Yeah.
them. But I think as far as like people fucking love him.
Yeah.
Like any review that you've seen for this movie is like more on Baku.
Yeah.
You need him.
Yeah.
And he's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like he's just like oozing charisma. Any
Yeah.
scene that he's in, you're like, I wish the scene was longer.
He's more mature in this movie than
Way
last
more
one.
mature,
Yeah.
right? So I think if they go forward and Shuri decides like because also for Shuri,
Yeah.
she is not a fighter, right? A lot of the things she does in the movie is like, I want to solve this shit amicably with
Technology.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Hers is more technology,
Yeah.
whereas like a Black Panther is more a defender, a warrior,
Yeah.
right?
Nails.
That's not
Right.
her.
Yeah.
She does it in this movie out of like her drive for vengeance.
Yeah.
But you can tell like her main purpose is not I want to defend Wakanda. Her main purpose is I want to avenge my mom.
Right.
Right. So I think now that she's at peace with that,
Yeah.
I think that then opens the door for M'Baku to become
The Black Panther.
and I think that's maybe what they meant by oh people haven't figured out who the Black Panther is. Because they said that, you know, we're like, we've seen the fucking trailers. That's not anyone else's ass other than Letitia Rice's like,
Right.
you know, small frame.
Right. Yeah.
So I think by having that open by saying,
Yeah.
well, he's challenging for the throne, I don't think anyone is going to oppose.
Well, I don't think Disney knows yet either.
No.
And
But I think that's also like what a lot of people are leaning towards.
I think this is so this might be our phase 4 segue, this might not be our phase 4 segue. But I think that this is one of the problems that phase 4 currently has
Mhm.
is there's just a lot of like plot threads that have just been introduced up in the air everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah,
we did
yeah.
talk about this briefly in one of our previous MCU things. It may have been,
Love and Thunder.
it may have been Love and
Yeah.
Thunder, where we said like this is still technically speaking the setup phase,
Yeah.
right? This is technically the phase 1 of the second saga, right?
But it's a lot of setup in a lot of different directions.
It just I think
And there's still leftover setup from the last phase.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I do think before we segue into
Yeah.
our thing, we both touched on this. They introduce Baby T'Challa
Baby T'Challa.
at the end of this movie. Well, a 6-year-old Baby T'Challa,
Yeah,
right?
with his stupid ass
With
list.
his stupid ass list. I will not shy away from saying that I fucking hate kids in movies.
Yeah.
So I am already not thrilled about having a child.
So I like kids in movies. I don't like Adam Warlock, and who's not a kid, but Adam Warlock and the Thor kid and Jane Foster's in fucking heaven. And now we've got Letitia Wright. Um, and now you mentioned me. I had not considered until this point that M'Baku could be the new Black Panther. But then we
Hmm.
got that and this kid and uh the non Olsen twins, children who are Olsen twins.
Yeah,
And, right. It's like
it's a lot.
and a lot of that is in. I mean, Adam Warlock will maybe be coming up if they do anything with it, or and
I mean, he
fucking
is. He's in the movie,
yeah,
right?
and One Direction is whoever.
Oh my God, I forgot about
Yeah,
him. Star Fox.
yeah,
Fuck,
um,
Carl's brother.
yeah. So like,
Oh my
there's a lot
God.
of already when there's not even yet a single cohesive. I mean, it is the multiverse saga, but like you finish Avengers 1 and you're like, oh,
You know where you're going with
Thanos.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I mean, you do have the titles of the last two Avengers movies, but you still don't really like know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
It's a lot of threads. Dare I say, it is George R. R. Martin-esque, and I do not mean that as a compliment.
Compliment.
Yeah.
There is so much to say, and then that's on top of like everything that's already
Yeah.
primarily set up in these movies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Eternals, Black Widow,
Yeah.
all of this shit.
Yeah. Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, fuck.
Yeah.
They did an untitled of the movie.
Oh, did they?
Shang-Chi and the Wreckage of Time,
Cool.
which I'm like, I just want more Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Um,
Kate Bishop.
oh my God,
The
Kate Bishop,
new Ant-Man daughter.
Loki.
Loki, right?
Uh,
Yeah. So like there's a lot to cover in the MCU. And granted, that's what comics are.
so
Yeah.
I kind of hope this is in service. Well, this is if it is, it'd be stupid.
Yeah.
But like that's also kind of the problem that they had leading up to actual Secret Wars,
Hmm.
where they were like, we have too much shit. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
The readers don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Secret Wars, and oops, everything disappears, and now we have one steady 616 universe.
Is Oops Everything Disappears, No More Mutants? Is that the
No, no,
yeah.
no. That's the end of Secret Wars, where like
Yeah.
the realities kind of like converge
Converge, yeah.
after everything was kind of like going
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
and then that's how you ended up with like Miles Morales officially being off of like the Ultimate timeline,
Right.
joining the main timeline,
I see.
and then everything else was like, okay, everything else is just gone.
Yeah.
I think at the end of Secret Wars in this, they're gonna have to be like, all right, yeah, we are not doing all these different timelines. We're gonna have one concise thing.
And that's such an interesting choice to have, given how fast these three phases are going to go.
By 2026, I think.
That is not a lot of time.
No.
I mean, that is 8 years from not even Endgame, 8 years from Infinity War.
And you also have to consider
Yeah.
that Endgame ended in 2019,
Yeah. And then the pandemic
and then the
happened.
pandemic happened, which cost us a whole year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if that whole year had not happened,
It'd be
and
sooner.
even sooner,
Yeah.
ideally.
Yeah.
So who knows? But that does segue us now
Hell yeah.
into the meat and potatoes.
Meat-
Well, this is the dessert.
I mean, here not everything we've said hasn't been said before, but I
No,
mean,
yeah, fair.
yeah, the
Uh,
main points.
the main point. So
I
today,
will say, how when you build your physics class bridge and they say if it shatters everywhere, at least you built it like evenly dispersed.
sure,
So this movie is not a disaster.
no,
Not far, far from. It's still a good movie. But I will say, I think to its credit, when everybody can disagree about like what your like three or four main flaws are,
yes.
I think that's a good sign-ish. I don't know, maybe not. I mean, but it's interesting. I've never seen so much agreement about what has worked in a movie and what has not worked in a movie.
It's almost universal,
Yeah,
right? When I see someone, maybe I don't 100% agree with like the criticism, I can be like, yeah, I see that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's a YouTuber that I follow. His name is Chris Parker.
Okay.
and he was like, he had the exact same criticism as you. I was expecting this to be sadder
I was expecting it to be sadder. It's not sad in the center. It's only sad
at
at
the
the margins.
beginning
Yeah,
and then at the end, right?
and okay, maybe there's a can of worms. I don't think they should have killed off Mama T'Challa.
No,
No, maybe it
I
was a contract thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
And too, apparently she was not happy about it.
Oh,
There was an article today where
yeah,
they interviewed her, and she was like, "What's she doing?
yeah.
Like, why?"
I think it detracts from the grief for T'Challa.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's the I don't want to compare it to Joker, but it's the look how much you can suffer. Look how much
Yeah.
you can suffer.
Yeah.
Haha, you lost your brother. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? You also lost your dad before
Yeah.
that, and now you lost your
Mother.
mom.
Yeah.
It's just a lot, and
Yes.
I get it. You want your characters to be emotionally compelling in a lot of
But
and these years.
this could have been emotional if you focused more on actually the loss of T'Challa. It could
You
have
don't
been
see
more.
you don't see her dealing with the loss of T'Challa. You're told a lot, like, oh,
Yeah.
she's sad, but you don't actually see her have a conversation with anyone about her being upset.
It ends when they're having the conversation by the water, where she's like, "There's something I have to tell you about T'Challa." Then Namor comes and fucks that up. There's like no T'Challa in the middle. Then she dies. Then the focus is on her grief, and then T'Challa at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
just
And I think this is where our asterisk of given the circumstances does not apply.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All right, so we
Yeah.
are going to take a few minutes and we are going to
Tier list.
tier list.
Yeah.
We started the How I Met Your Mother summer with like we're gonna do a tier list for everything, and we ended up doing two tier lists.
They're hard.
Everything else was like actual like number
Rankings.
lists.
Yeah.
We're not gonna rank these because that's just
Yeah.
that's
Too much.
that's hard,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
We're gonna tier these movies. I think a fair disclaimer is just because you rank two movies the same does not mean that in like a ranking thing
Right.
they would be side by side,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and go in.
And our other fair disclaimer is we have not talked about this yet in terms of
No,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are going to
We're
hopefully
going
not
in dry.
spend too
Yeah.
long in this.
Yeah.
So let me look up the chronological order of Phase 4, right? So Phase 4 officially started with WandaVision.
WandaVision.
That was the first bit of
Phase 4 content.
Phase 4 content, right? Because
Pre-COVID, right?
Phase 3 ends with no post-COVID, dude.
WandaVision's post-COVID?
Yeah,
I remember I was in school for WandaVision.
it was during COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
So WandaVision was the very first taste that we would get. Um,
Oh, yeah, because everyone was talking about being locked inside. Well, yeah, well, and it's going to be S tier.
you give it S
I
tier.
give it S tier.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think if we had said A tier, I would not argue it.
Yeah.
Because there are some lulls here or there, but I think overall, from like acting, from the initial mystery, was kind of cool.
I think the lulls are actually mostly in the first couple episodes,
Mm.
and thank God they released those. Like,
Oh,
right.
and I mean, the
Yeah.
end of that third episode
Yeah.
leaves you with
That's the actual cliffhanger of them.
leaves you with Monica Rambeau being shot out of the hex, and you're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
So I think it was a good start.
Yep.
Um, I think it does a decent job at setting up her turn in Doctor Strange.
Yes.
So I am happy with it being
Yeah.
here on this list.
Yep. Yep.
Following, why did this?
It's the smartest of the shows too.
The smartest of the shows?
Yes. Of all the shows, I think that's the one that makes people think the most.
Yes. Sure. Why can't they find like an actual?
Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. It's probably even on fucking Wikipedia.
Maybe.
And you want release order, right?
I want release order.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. I got you.
You got it?
I don't want the up and coming.
Right? It's there we go.
Oh,
I got it.
okay.
Okay. So after WandaVision, we have Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Ooh.
Um,
All right.
there's some pretty good highs and there's some bores. I would be okay with this being either a B or C. I don't think it's bad enough to be D.
I can't give it B.
You can't give
I
it
can't give
B.
it B. I think it's very underwhelming.
But Donna, we have CeeLo dancing.
We do have Zemo
It's
dancing. All right, here. I think a lot of it is based on the premise that these people are broke, which is stupid.
and they pointed out. They at least
They at
acknowledged
least
that it's
acknowledge that
stupid.
it's stupid, but it is stupid. It's I think it's a very blah show.
Very blah.
And I wanted US Agent to be more evil.
You wanted a full, like full heel thing.
Eh,
He kind of leans that way, and I feel like they go, oh, we can't make the government guy be super evil.
yeah,
Let's tone it back.
yeah.
I do agree. I think it starts stronger than it ends.
The first episode or two were great. And then they nerf Winter
Bucky.
Soldier? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do our boy
Yeah.
a bit
I
dirty.
like the new Captain America suit.
I don't mind it a
Mm.
lot. I still think it's kind of interesting that he is just a dude.
Yes, okay, that is also stupid. Like, and I don't know if it was that way in the comics or not, but like watching him practicing throwing the
Yeah.
shield, I'm like, "Ooh,
Yeah, it's not good.
yeah,
When you have a world full of like these people who can do these like really cool things
or build Stark Tech.
or build Star Trek,
Yeah,
it's just like I get that his suit is made with like Wakandan technology,
yeah,
but I still think in the grand scheme of things, he should have taken the syrup,
yes.
not the serum.
The syrup,
The
the
syrup.
syrup, the syrup,
The syrup.
the
Goddamn.
syrup. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm okay with it being at C.
yeah,
Like I said, I could argue for B maybe, but
yeah.
I'm not that willing to argue it.
Yeah.
Loki.
A?
I would say A. People put this shit at S. I don't think it's
No, I think it
S.
drops the ball a little bit towards the end.
The fact that the last episode is 30 minutes of a guy monologuing and explaining timelines.
I don't even necessarily complain about that. It's like either the second to last or third to last is just a straight up filler episode, and it has no business to be. I think it involves the train.
The train.
Aren't they on a train?
Dude, I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I know that like there was a really good episode when like you have all the Lokis kind of like
yeah,
converging at the like end of the timeline.
very cool.
That was very cool. I love Sylvie as a
Sylvie's great.
character. I want Sylvie to come back. I think I like her almost as much, if not more, than Tom Hiddleston's Loki.
Yeah,
Getting a chance to have more Hiddleston is not a bad thing.
no,
Uh, but I would not say that this reaches like the intrigue
of
of
WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Yeah,
So I'm okay with it
yeah.
being A,
This wins
unless
because it's like trippy, but it's not
it's
like
very weird.
yeah.
Black Widow. I would say B. I think I personally am a lot more
Kind to this movie than
kind
most.
to this movie than most people are.
I love the second act. I love the scene in the house. I think that scene.
Oh, with the whole family
I
together?
think that scene by it of itself is S tier scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing with the pig, where like the pig passes out, and she's like, "Good job, Alexi," and Alexi is like, "What the fuck?" She named the pig after her. That's so good.
Yeah.
I love the casting.
Yeah.
I will always support more
Flo.
David Harbour,
Ah.
more Rachel Weisz,
Yeah.
and having Flo Pugh,
Yeah.
uh, a very stinky actress according to some people.
So sad.
Oh, just because of the Pew.
So,
Uh, I'm okay with her joining. I want to see more of her. I feel like the fact that it's been so long since she's been cast in this, and we've only gotten her.
It's in Hawkeye since then.
And even in
It's like a
Hawkeye,
year
it was
ago.
like
That shit doesn't seem like a year ago.
it does not, but it was.
Yeah.
And the fact that she was only in there for like an episode or two,
Yeah.
it just seems like she was kind of underused.
I didn't I wasn't as perturbed by what they did with Taskmaster in this.
No,
It was
because dude,
fine.
I'm sorry. Like people who complain about like, oh, they changed. Like, we just had this
Yeah.
conversation, right? Like, I'm sorry, Taskmaster is just not that interesting of a
Isn't
character.
Taskmaster basically the Riddler?
No,
No. I mean, they can
Taskmaster,
mimic every task or
he
some
just
shit.
mimic. Yeah, he's just very good at Freddy, basically.
Yeah.
Which is like something that like all of these fucking people can do already. So like
Yeah.
I don't mind that they tied Taskmaster to
Yeah.
Natasha's story. I wonder if they'll keep her like disfigured
Yeah.
coming up in the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
But
Keep on wanting
I
to call it Thunderbirds. It's Thunderbolts.
Thunderbirds,
Yeah.
the Thunderbolts,
Not Birds of Thunder.
not Birds of Thunder.
The
Uh,
I think my problems with this movie are
uh,
one, the ending fight, and then
it
two,
is very CG heavy. There's a lot of things in that
yeah,
final like sky battle thing
yeah.
that just don't mesh, which does keep it from being higher, I think, in my book.
And then two is just when it was released.
Yeah, I think a lot of I personally, like I said, like I personally gave it a big pass because like this movie went through like some shit,
Yeah.
right? But I do think that a lot of my positives for it, like the chemistry between like Natasha and Flo,
Yeah, excellent.
it's great.
Excellent. Yeah.
So I am pretty happy
Yeah.
with this being here.
Yeah.
Next we have one of my personal favorites, Phase 4, Shang-Chi
Yeah.
and the Legends of the Ten Ring. I personally would put this at S tier.
You put it S tier.
I do because I think as far as like an origin,
Mm-hmm.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's extremely standalone. You can show
It
this
is very
to
standalone. That's
you
true.
can show this to someone and they
Yeah.
will have a great time.
Yeah.
I love martial arts movies.
Yeah.
In this movie, I was like, hell yeah. I know people didn't like the end with like the big kaiju battles, but I was like, hey, it's different than having a
Yeah.
big sky beam.
Yeah. I go S or A. I go S
That's
or A.
right.
Yeah.
Would you argue against it being an S?
I would
Over.
have no good argument ready, so I'm
Okay.
fine with it being an S.
I do think Simu Liu is a great addition, and
Yes.
again, the fact that he hasn't been in at least like a cameo in something else is
Yeah.
kind of criminal because
Surprising.
he is extremely like down for shit.
He is.
And good for them for getting like a guy who's like down for shit too.
Yeah. That's the good thing about the Zoomers.
Exactly. Is he technically a Zoomer?
I don't know. He might be like an old Zoomer, but I don't know.
I am going to dump this one down here.
Which one?
What if is our next one?
I'm not gonna put it down there.
You wouldn't?
No, I'll put it at D.
You put it at D?
I just don't give a fuck.
I know it would be lower.
You know, maybe
So
maybe it deserves C. I don't know. I mean, there's some highs. There's some cool visuals, right? It's not offensive. I just don't care about it.
it's in a in a franchise where everything is like we gotta speak through shit, we gotta crank out the content, and
Yeah.
then you get something that's like so unrelated
Yeah.
and so like take it or leave it. I think that's its biggest stumble. And I
I
get it. That's the point of this.
yeah. I think okay. So I think part of the reason I don't care for it is in general, I just kind of hate alternate takes on things and people who love alternate takes on things.
Uh,
Um, I actually, this is probably just stupid white nerd of me. I thought it was dumb to have Ultron just raffle stomp Thanos.
I agree.
Yeah.
I get why they did it,
Yeah.
but I think it's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Um,
But this was a chore for me to watch.
I can see that.
TBH.
Again, when your thing overall is extremely disconnected, you
Yeah.
don't feel that need to be like, I gotta watch
Yeah.
this shit next week, right?
People loved this. I'm so glad, well, this is awful too. Usually people are like, I'm so glad X is getting love. I'm so glad this is finally getting some hate.
Nice.
This. When
Oh,
I say
gotcha,
X.
gotcha.
like everybody before who I talked to like loved this shit, and I was like, oh,
I enjoyed it when it was happening, so I was
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
it's kind of cool to have
yeah,
Peggy Carter back. It's kind of cool to have Tony back.
yeah,
But when you think about it as a piece of Phase 4,
yeah,
it's definitely like lower tier.
yes,
I would,
yes.
if you want to argue for C, I was joking with it being F, honestly.
No, there's something on here that gets F tier. That
I have thoughts.
okay.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah,
So I think, what if I would be okay with it being C
yeah,
or D?
yeah.
Um, Eternals.
See
I didn't hate this.
there.
I think it gets shit
Yeah.
way more than it deserves.
I think part of the shit that it's getting is not necessarily attached to it, is more just to the MCU structure in general. Is that no one has seen consequences of this movie in anything else.
Exactly.
I will also say the characters aren't that memorable.
The characters are not that
Yeah.
memorable, but there's an argument to be made that they are not meant to be
Be
quite that.
yes.
Like, they are meant to be very robotic
Yeah.
by the nature of them being Eternals.
Yeah.
And there is hope that there might be something cool that happens with this.
Yeah.
I would say a solid B.
Now here's where and I know we gave the disclaimer at the beginning, but there's another thing on here that I'm gonna want to put in B. Then I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see that it's with Eternals, and then I'm gonna say something ain't right. But that's just like the problem of ranking things. So let's put it in B for now, and then
Here's the thing.
I'll make that point when we get there.
You said B or C. My argument for this was actually going to be A or B.
Okay.
Because, like, yeah, from a like character perspective, it's
Yeah.
not very like inventive,
Yeah.
but it's shot extremely well.
Yeah.
It like for as far as like a visual movie in the MCU in Phase 4,
Yeah.
it looked great. And
Yeah.
that's a testament to like how good Chloe Zhao is as a director.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I don't
fine with
know.
this in B.
So I think if your take was B or C and my take is maybe A or B,
Then
I
we
think B is a
B
solid
is
middle
yeah.
point for
Yeah.
now. We can always go back and adjust.
Yeah.
Then we go to a year back with Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
I fucking love Hawkeye, dude.
I liked Hawkeye a lot. I liked Hawkeye a lot.
I enjoyed it a lot. I think Kate Bishop is fantastic.
Okay, bitch. I think it does the Christmas feel well
I will be rewatching this
this year.
when I'm on Christmas break this year.
Yeah.
It's fun.
There's something to me about the last once Kingpin comes back, something to me upon then felt like the ending was a little rushed-ish or the pace was off.
And that I think that leads to the complaint that a lot of people have with a lot
The shows.
of the shows
Yeah.
is the surprise last episode or two
Yeah.
villain reveal.
Yeah.
Right? In WandaVision, last two episodes, we find out Agatha's, the bad guy. Falcon
Which
and
I
Winter
was fine with.
Soldier.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
But like Falcon and Winter Soldier, you find out that Sharon Carter, right?
Yeah.
She's the bad guy. She's the broker,
Yes.
right?
I don't think our characters ever find that out.
They do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's his name? Sam is like, I basically know that you're like
Yeah.
doing this shit.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hawkeye, we find out that what's his face is the bad guy at the end.
Yeah.
Moon Knight, somebody else comes in at the end. I can't remember 100%. Ms. Marvel, like there's that trend at the end where now it's
It's the gin.
yes,
Yeah.
right. So it's not uncommon,
Yes.
right? And then this is where we start to kind of notice that trend, especially because it's such a big deal
Yeah.
that Vincent D'Onofrio is back.
Yes.
To me, that elevated the show, but I can see why some people might be like, God damn it, another like late reveal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm fine with it in A because I think it's very lovable. while it's here.
I
Yeah.
like the dynamic between Kate and
And
Clint.
Clint, yeah, absolutely.
That like, you know, grumpy father figure,
Yeah,
and then this like spunky, like new fresh face.
yeah. It's got
Uh,
Avengers the musical. Tony Dalton's great in this.
he's fantastic in it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love him as
And this is while like Better Call Saul hasn't ended yet, so you're like Lalo Salamanca still like
oh, he's in it.
yeah, he's fucking in it. He's a show stealer in Better Call Saul.
Oh,
Yeah,
my main knowledge of him is from a Mexican movie.
yeah. Is he
Uh,
Mexican?
I'm not sure if he's necessarily Mexican,
Because he's a
but he is like,
great fucking Mexican
yeah, he's
in
like,
Better Call Saul.
yeah. I think he might be born from the States, but I think he grew up in Mexico. So like his roots are in like Mexican TV.
I see, I see, I see.
And you've seen the movie. We watched it on a double date, like back in high
Wow.
school.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so we're happy with Hawkeye there.
Yep.
Next we have my personal
Spidey.
Spider-Man.
S tier.
I'm sorry, this belongs nowhere
S tier.
else.
Yeah.
This movie gave me
This was Avengers vibes.
big Avenger vibes.
Yeah.
This movie gave me my one of the first times in the movie that I've gotten emotional
Yeah.
from the happy scene.
Uh,
Seeing the three Spider-Men like
yeah, it was great.
zooming through the
Absolutely.
statue was fantastic for me.
Yeah.
I did see the extended version of it.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was necessary, but it was good.
It was there.
You know, I was happy with it.
You saw it in 4DX, didn't you?
4DX, I felt like I was getting the shit kicked out of me,
Yeah, yeah.
and honestly,
That shit will never catch on.
no.
Yeah.
I think D-Box does it good.
Yeah.
4DX, you feel like you're being assaulted.
Iron Wolf.
It's the difference
Yeah.
between going on the Raging Bull
Yeah.
and going on the Iron Wolf.
That's funny.
I know no one else will fucking get that,
Yeah.
but that's how it feels. Honestly, there's nothing else to say about this movie, I think.
Yeah. S tier.
Um,
S tier.
Now we are in New Year. New Year, who dis? 2022.
Wow. Look at all this
With,
fucking content.
you know, we are starting and we have, oh,
Yeah.
why is the journals here?
Is there an extra? Let's see.
Oh, I think this is supposed to be, I think that's supposed to be Moon Knight.
Ah, yes, 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 it is.
Yeah. Which is the next one, Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Moon Knight dragged for me.
I think there's points where it runs out of steam. I like the ending kaiju fight.
Loved it. There's also a really good fight at the end
Yeah.
when like Steven and why am I blinking? And Mark,
Yeah.
they kind of finally, are on the same page,
Yeah.
and they can both switch between the personas
Yeah.
like at will, and this is a really, really great fight.
I want to give this movie so much credit for like being so, or the show so much credit for being so confident as being
It's
kind of
weird.
standalone. Yeah.
It's also extremely
It's
weird,
weird.
and I
It's weird.
like that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Some of the middle episodes, and granted, these are only what 7, 8 episodes, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. It was short.
So even though maybe it feels like it drags because we were watching it week to week,
Yeah.
on rewatch,
I
it
think
goes a lot
I
better.
would think it would do well in a binge. I'm fine with it at B.
I would be okay with this as B.
Yeah.
An argument I think could be made for A, but I'm happy with it at B.
I don't think an argument can be made for A.
You don't think so?
You'll just you wait for my
Interesting.
my controversial B movie.
Then we have another. Unless you change your mind, but when we walked out of this movie, I think we were both like S tier.
Doctor Strange, S
and the
tier.
Multiverse of
I've
Madness.
actually heard a lot of shit about this movie recently, and I don't get it. S tier.
People who shit on this movie,
Yeah.
I feel like were expecting the world from this movie.
I'd fucking put this shit in like second place for me, actually. I think this is it. This
Okay. Mm.
like this WandaVision and Spider-Man to me are my top three, like clearly. And I go back and forth as to which one I love the best.
Mm.
No, S tier.
S tier.
S tier.
My only complaint with this is I wish it had gone harder and weirder.
It goes pretty hard and weird.
It goes pretty hard and weird for MCU standards.
Yeah.
Have you seen the clip of the like test footage they had done
No, I haven't.
where she just demolishes like the Illuminati.
Oh,
And like it's the stunt
yeah,
performer with like some rough effects. It's
yeah,
they're all wearing, normal street clothes
right,
because they're training. And you're like, if this had been put in theaters,
yeah,
there's no way you could make an argument for this being PG-13
yeah.
whatsoever. I
My
think I can send it to you a little bit.
my only complaint is that Wanda dies.
But she doesn't.
Um,
They've
not,
already they've already said she should be coming back in the White Mission
yeah,
show.
well, that's good.
So
In which show?
the White Mission show.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Vision
yeah,
Quest.
yeah,
Um I'm I recently rewatched this movie because some of my horror YouTubers watched it because they were like,
yeah.
"Oh, it's a Sam Raimi movie. We usually don't follow MCU stuff,
We'll watch it.
but we'll
Yeah,
watch it because
yeah.
we've heard it has some horror." And they were like, "This is
It's got great horror.
fucking bonkers for
Yeah,
like a mainstream like MCU movie."
yeah,
Uh, and I think it does a really good job at setting up from the very beginning
yeah.
the big fight with Gargantos.
Great convos on good and evil.
Very
Yeah,
good,
I love this. I'm actually itching to watch it again sometime soon. I
wonderful.
love Multiverse of
It's
Madness.
so good.
Yeah.
Um, After that, we have Miss Marvel came out about a solid month after that.
Okay, so I love the characters in Miss Marvel
Hmm.
a lot. I love her like a lot. She is super cute and endearing.
She
Yeah,
is what Miss Marvel is supposed to be.
yeah,
I do feel like if there's ever been a complaint that Marvel is too kiddish, because you've always heard that
yeah,
argument of, oh, DC is for like men,
yeah.
Marvel's for kids. This is what I think people would point to,
But this,
but it's not a bad thing.
no, and this is if one of them is supposed to be for kids,
Exactly.
I would say it's this one.
They do a good job at showing like that aesthetic where like they have like a big wide shot and like
Yeah,
things are like flashing. Chalk is like making drawings as they're walking and
yeah,
explaining things. It is meant to be more of like a teen drama.
yeah. Stylistically, it's so cool. I think I don't care for the gin.
No,
Um,
that I don't think I don't think I like that so much.
yeah.
I do like the idea of her being an inhuman, but
It,
that's also because I'm a big
well, she's a mute.
Agents of
She's
Shield.
not an inhuman, right? She's a mutant, or
She's an inhuman.
she's an inhuman.
She was created after the split between
But
Marvel.
in the show, is she an inhuman?
No, she's not. In the
She's a
show,
mutant.
she's a
Yeah, see,
mutant.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew she was an inhuman in the.
Right.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes. Um, yeah, but the Jin as villains, I don't care for it. But I love the style. I love the aesthetic. I love the actors.
Hmm.
This one's tough for me.
There's some interesting in there. I mean, I think we can both agree it's definitely beer high, right?
Yeah,
Um,
but it drags towards the end.
and I haven't rewatched this.
Yeah,
A lot of the times I rewatch things with Katie because sometimes she doesn't watch
yeah,
these like as they come out.
yeah.
I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would feel the drag, and I can say this about all of these. I don't think I would feel the drag as much on the rewatch.
Yeah,
Um, that flashback episode, I think, is the biggest detractor.
I think.
It's a good episode and it's important,
Yeah,
but it just like the story just like screeches to a fucking halt
I forget. Is she Indian or Pakistani?
in Pakistan.
So the Pakistan arc, I think, just drags a little too long. Yes.
So
Um,
I would
B
what's it be?
B.
Which is kind of again,
Yeah,
that's the problem with these ranking
yeah.
lists. I would say I would rather rewatch.
All right. So the next show that okay. All right. We'll wait till we get there.
Sure.
Yeah,
All right.
Republicans might be mad at me.
Republicans might be mad at
They
you.
should be mad at me because I'm
All
actively
right.
hostile to them in this program.
This is where we start to get into some shit, right?
Yeah,
I personally want to put Love and Thunder at C.
I want to put it at D.
You want to put it at
I want to
D?
put it at D.
Ew.
Yeah.
I would not. I would not fight you on that.
That one has soured on my taste more since. I think I watched it and I was kind of prepared for the bad because of the reviews it was getting. I felt the bad, but then I was also like, okay, okay, so here, the jokes are not as egregious as people make it out to be. That's what I'll give it credit for.
Sure.
But it's just so unmemorable.
It's kind of like we said with
Yeah,
Miss Marvel being that stereotypical like argument for like this is for kids.
yeah,
This is the stereotypical argument for uh oh, all the MCU movies are trying to be too funny.
yeah,
And I think you feel it so much in this.
yeah.
Again, the jokes are not necessarily bad. It's how many jokes there are,
I don't even think,
how they deflate the stakes
yeah,
in this movie.
not enough gore.
Not enough Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah,
And
not enough Valkyrie.
it well not only that, but it manages to take these characters that we loved
Yeah,
from Ragnarok and make you not want them to be in this movie.
yeah,
I came out of this movie borderline hating Korg.
yeah.
I love Korg in in
In Ragnarok,
Ragnarok.
yeah,
I liked him for the small amount of screen time he got in Endgame.
yeah,
I fucking hated him by the end of this movie.
yeah.
And it's not because his two dads, no.
Right.
It's because he is just constantly talking
And useless.
and not shutting the fuck up
Yeah,
and not doing anything.
yeah.
And then Valkyrie like just seems so uncharacteristic in like how badass she's presented in the last movie.
Yeah, this, like I said in our review for this could have been a.
This should have been S tier
This should have been S tier. This also could have been a Natalie Portman and Valkyrie led movie with like Thor being.
in the background.
Yeah,
Be like Thor's gone.
Thor could have been the MacGuffin. Thor could have been the damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They could have need to get him back from the Guardians.
You could have had a
Yeah,
movie. You could have had a movie where Thor lost his edge.
yeah,
Gore kidnaps him because he needs the fucking
something.
why am I blinking on the
Stormbreaker.
Rainbow Bridge? Yeah, he's
The
Stormbreaker.
the Bifrost.
Yeah, the Bifrost. Thank
Yeah,
you. And then you have Valkyrie and Jane
Jane.
going out to rescue
Rescue Thor.
him,
Yeah,
right? And that would have been fine.
yeah,
I think they were worried, can Jane lead a movie? And that's stupid that they did not
yeah.
trust her to do it.
And then they don't even have the balls to like actually kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she should have died in
I
the
don't think she
first
should have
place.
died at all.
I think the fact that they tried to like psych you out with her being dead,
Yeah.
just to then at the end reveal
Silly.
that she's, you
Yeah.
know, in the afterworld
Yeah.
or whatever, I do think that shows like a lack of commitment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do agree. This is one of those that I'm like, I can't see myself rewatching this anytime
Yeah.
soon.
Sadly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
'Cause I was
definitely
looking forward
rewatch
to
it
it. Yeah.
on like when I do my marathons,
Right.
but I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Then we have Thanos' least favorite,
Same group.
Iron Groot.
F tier. It's not funny. It's not clever. It's not emotional.
It's not,
It's not anything.
but here's the problem.
Yeah.
In order for me to say it's F tier, I'm not going to argue against
Yeah.
you with it not being there. I really did like the last episode.
Alright, so here's the thing.
You didn't finish it,
I
did
didn't
you?
finish it. I didn't finish it.
Damn.
So maybe I can't talk shit. But I also was not.
I mean, it shows
Yeah.
how uninteresting
Yeah.
a short series is.
Yeah.
This is like, I think the longest episode's 5 minutes.
It all released in the same day. Wasn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then the way they released it was weird because like they were shown out of order.
Yeah.
So like I actually ended up watching the last episode second to last, and I was like, well, what the fuck is happening?
Oh, interesting.
But the last episode like actually has like a story,
Yeah.
and it's still a short.
Right.
But I was like, oh, if this was released and this was the only thing that was released, I think I would
Much
have
better.
liked it.
Yeah.
I think it's the other 3 episodes that really dragged this shit down.
Yeah.
So I personally would say that last glimmer of hope was enough to bump it from an F to a D for me.
All right, so since we have, I think we have to go for yours because I haven't really seen
I
it.
thought you had. I thought you at least finished it. I was like, oh, he
Mm,
has 15 minutes out of his day.
I do. About 15 minutes tonight, and I'm still not going to use.
Um, so I think
Yeah.
that leads us to She-Hulk.
A tier for me.
I think A tier as well.
And people are going to look at this list and they're going to see Loki and She-Hulk on the same
I
tier.
don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck
I don't
either.
give a fuck.
It
It's
it knows what it is.
100%.
Yes.
Sorry, if you watch this show and you think you are being attacked,
Yeah.
you fucking deserve it.
So she's just like so cute.
Adorable.
Yes.
She's adorable as
Yeah.
Jen, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know I joked about this that I think I told you when we were at Six Flags.
Yeah.
I made a comment to you and Jimmy, and I was like, I think Instagram is prepping me for She-Hulk.
Are you trying to get her to step on you?
No, but Instagram was like like sending me
Yeah, strong.
strong women, and I was like, I would hate it,
Yeah.
but why? And then I watched the show, and I'm like, Big Jen's kind of hot.
No, I don't think so.
I'm not saying like I wanted to stop. I'm not like that
Yeah.
guy who's like in the show who's like, oh yeah, when you're Big Jen, when you're Little Jen, fuck
Yeah.
you. But
I don't think she's kind of hot. I actually don't think she's hot.
really,
No, I think regular Jen's hot. I do. I think the CGI in Jen's face is actually too like
it's a
too
bit
off-putting
uncanny
to me.
valley.
Yeah.
But I do like her both
Yeah.
as Big Jen
Yeah.
as Little Jen.
There's some funny episodes.
Great episodes.
Yeah.
There, one of the last episodes, I was watching it and I was like, this is the most I've laughed in a TV show in a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, I think one of them was like the retreat episode
The retreat episodes really
where
good.
they just spend the whole time at
Yeah, the
Abomination's
Yeah,
retreat,
yeah.
bonding.
Yeah.
I know people shit on episode one.
I liked that episode.
I liked it.
I liked the finale.
The finale was
Yeah.
great.
Actually, I think I honestly really didn't care for like the whole Scar thing at the end, or whatever his son's name is.
Oh yeah, no, people are too caught up on that.
I would have been fine if that weren't in the show.
Again, another thing that
A child.
a child
Yeah.
being added,
Yeah.
possible
Right.
tying down the
Right.
line with a Planet Hulk movie
Yeah.
or World War Hulk probably.
Yeah.
As I, whatever. I'm not mad. I personally, we're moving on to the
We
next
didn't even
one.
talk about Daredevil and She-Hulk.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Fucking
because I
great.
mean, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I love him, but that kind of shows how strong the show is on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daredevil was great.
Yeah.
I really liked him. I liked having Charlie Cox back.
Yeah.
Good for him for getting that character back.
Yeah. Absolutely.
As someone who didn't watch Daredevil, I'm sure like the attachment wasn't there for you.
I saw the beginning of the first season, right?
Yeah.
So no, the attachment wasn't there for me, but I thought he fit in swimmingly, and I love the fact that they fucked.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and I want them to keep
And he
fucking.
did the walk of shame.
I hope yes.
And I love the
Yeah.
fact that like they were like, yeah, fuck it. And people were mad online.
And I hope they never stop fucking. I
I want that relationship to go on to Daredevil.
want it to go
Born
on
Again.
forever.
Yes.
Yes.
That leads us to Werewolf by Night.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm tempted to say S tier really for what it is, and what it is great.
I will fight you on this one.
You don't think it's S tier?
No, I will fight you if anything lower than S tier.
Yeah. Yeah, S tier.
I would say while Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is the first like dip into horror,
Right.
I think this is the first like solid horror installment.
And it's that classic horror, right?
It's that, yeah. And I think everybody does a great job.
Yeah.
The main character, Jack,
Yeah.
compelling. You get everything that you need in a 1 hour thing.
Yeah.
Katie goes, "Oh, you're still alive."
We're making art.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with this. I rewatched it the other day.
Yeah.
And it's still so good.
It's still very good. It is very good.
and I also like the fact that it does feel like almost like a two arc
A 2 arc film.
film,
Yeah.
right? Where you have the first arc where they're in the maze, and then you have everything happening in the compound after he's
That's
captured.
with the werewolf. Yeah.
And it's very good.
Yeah.
I had such a blast with this.
I think okay, so here's it doesn't I feel like take enough risks where it could mess up and then it shows you that it doesn't. Right? Like I don't think I'll call this movie hyper ambitious.
No,
But I think it stays in its lane and excels.
100%.
This movie is chocolate ice cream.
This movie is
Not double fudge,
nope.
but it's some good chocolate ice cream.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like if you go to Overwise.
Yeah.
Overwise, I think, has top-notch ice cream.
It's very good ice cream. Very good ice cream.
It might be the safe choice,
Yeah.
but you know
But you
what?
know what you're gonna get.
You know 100%.
Yeah.
It doesn't try to be anything it's not,
Correct.
right?
Last tier.
S tier. Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Okay, here's the thing. People are gonna be mad at me because they're gonna look at the tier I'm gonna put this in. They're gonna look what's above it. But I still feel like it deserves to be the tier that
B.
it's in. B. It makes too many mistakes.
Too many mistakes.
Yeah.
Again, it that little caveat does so much heavy lifting.
Yeah.
It's great for what
It is.
it is, for the circumstances that it
Yeah.
has. I think that gives it a lot of pass.
I think it's probably the best thing in this B category, maybe. Like if we're looking at everything.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
out of all of these.
Out of Black Widow, it's
Earlier I was
really
gonna say it, but I stopped myself because I knew that's where I personally wanted to put this.
Yeah.
Out of all of the movies in this list or shows in this B list,
Yeah.
this is the one that I would watch
Again.
happily.
Yeah. Yes. I'm not really gonna line up to watch the rest. Even though I
No.
saw Black Widow twice.
Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I would watch all of these,
Yeah.
but I'd be like, all right, I'll watch it.
Right.
But this is a movie that I am looking forward to watch.
I am looking forward to watching it again once it comes back out on. But that's because I want to like it more than I do.
Interesting.
Yes.
I wonder if maybe watching it again, knowing the flaws coming in, maybe
Yeah.
you're able to be like, whatever.
Yeah.
I do think that the huge detractor in this movie, the reason why I didn't take extra time out of my weekend to go watch it again is because it is near 3 fucking
Yeah,
minutes.
it's a trip.
It's a 3 hour endeavor because you have 25 to 30 minutes of trailers before,
Yeah.
and it is 2 hours and 40 minutes,
Yeah.
right? It's a chunky movie.
Yeah.
Whereas Spider-Man No Way Home is also 2 hours and like 40 minutes.
That's
But you are having
you're in it the
a
whole
fucking
time.
blast the
Yeah,
whole time.
you're in it the whole time.
So let's go ahead and break down our list before we wrap up.
Let's go from worst to best.
Worst to best. No F,
No
because
F.
Stama didn't do the assignment.
Yep.
Stama did not understand the 15-minute assignment.
My philosophy actually as a teacher is if I fuck up, then I will never punish my students for it. So if I don't get them an assignment in on time, then I will either be kinder with the grading or I will extend the deadline. So
Sure.
I am Groot has won from my mistake.
What the fuck was that? Who's calling? Okay, yes, let me call.
Yeah.
Hello? Hey, babe, what's up? What do you mean?
So D tier.
All right, so D tier.
Thor and Groot.
Thor and Groot.
Yeah.
Big disappointment in Thor.
Yeah.
I knew from the beginning that I was like gonna be lower on Groot because it was gonna be a short
Yeah.
series, and I was like, those are
Usually bad.
yeah, they're usually not.
Yeah.
You're not putting your best foot forward, right?
Like our C tier, which has our other short series, though not as short.
Not as short,
Yeah.
but very
Yeah.
disconnected.
Falcon and What If?
Falcon and What If, right? No, I can't. I cannot justify moving Falcon up,
No.
especially looking at what we have in B, A, and
Yeah.
S. It just head and shoulders above
It
it.
don't go. Yeah.
There was also a huge, I think, gap in like quality between B and everything else.
Yes.
Maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier because it did have some pretty solid highs,
Right.
but like, What If, Thor, and I Am Groot,
Yeah.
it's still
Yeah.
like just way better.
Yeah.
So for B, we have Black Widow, Eternals, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
Again, these lists can fluctuate.
Correct.
Black Panther,
And this isn't necessarily the ranking inside the ranking.
exactly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, again, there are some times where you're like, yes, even though this movie might be better made, I would rather watch
Something
blank,
else. Yeah.
right? Salad's better for you, but I'd rather have a fucking steak,
Yeah.
right? That type of thing.
Yeah. Or
A
chicken
tier.
nuggets. A tier. All TV shows in the A tier.
Oh
Loki,
yeah.
Hawkeye, and She-Hulk.
Oh, good catch.
Yeah, and then the S tier,
S
with the
tiers.
exception of the one obvious outlier, is all movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you do that on purpose?
the color coding.
The color
Yeah,
coding?
so we could see. Yeah. So I
Oh.
color coded for the millions of fans at home. I color coded all the shows red and all the movies blue. Just
Wait,
so.
I'm gonna take a screenshot of this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna post it online and see if people are mad online.
yeah. Please call it the definitive ranking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so did you say the S tier?
WandaVision,
Uh-huh.
Shang-Chi, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and Werewolf by Night.
Okay, very good.
Very good.
I am very happy with this list. I think this is the 100% factual
100%
ranking
factual.
list.
Yeah.
If
Everybody else is wrong.
everybody else is wrong, if your
Yeah.
list is different, even by
Yeah.
one of these,
Then you can go right to
you
hell.
can you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is where we are going to
Wrap it up.
wrap it up.
Yeah.
Put a
Put a
put a rubber
put a
on
rubber
it.
on it and look forward to no content on TV for, for a while.
Probably start watching anime. That's what I'm saying.
Isn't fucking
Everybody's over here talking about Chainsaw
isn't
Man.
fucking Bad Batch supposed to come out soon?
I,
I think
I
so.
watched 2 episodes and then dropped that
It's
shit.
fine, but I think I think it's long too. I think they milk a lot of time on Bad Batch. Yeah.
We're not even going to talk about like the extra stuff with this.
Nope.
It made money. People liked it.
Yep.
It's still making money.
Yep.
Go see it.
Yep.
On that note, we're gonna wrap. This is the longest episode.
Yeah, probably.
So we're gonna end here. Until next time.
He's Javier.
And he's Dano. We'll be back with another episode sometime soon. Bye.
Bye.